Oko is dead. But that's okay, guys. So today, I'm going to show you here how to make an Oko deck for your Magic the Gathering. If you haven't heard, if you lived under a rock or anything, Oko, Thief of Crowns, is officially banned in everything. But that's okay. I have pieced together a deck for Oko that consists of an Oko and a bunch of other cards that plays just as well as that Thief of Crowns, if not better. I personally never had any problems when anybody played the Thief of the Crowns. The first 3 times I saw it, I thought it was absolutely ridiculous and OP as fuck. But I made better decks. That's what I did to make those better. So, anyway, here's one of those decks that I made to make everybody happy that loves Oko. This is a trickster deck. We'll call it a Midsummer Night Dream. It does consist of Oko and a bunch of surprises in there. It's a prankster deck. It's a trickster deck. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to show you how to make an Oko deck. It's a 60 card deck for your modern standard. Everything in it is legal. Yes. As far as I have seen and can remember. Everything in there is legal. Everything in there is modern, except for one card that's not, but there's a reprinted version of it that I just don't own. It's a stupid cheap card too. You'll see it and I'll point it out. But let's get into it, guys. Let me show you how you can bring your Oko back in inglorious fashion. So first things first, guys, you got to get out your lands. This one doesn't really run a lot of lands, but that's okay, and I'll show you why when I get into the decks. So Oko is green and blue. So you're want to want to run your islands. You want 8 basic islands, just 8. Your forests, your green mana. This is typically your mana ramp. It's not going to be in this deck. That's okay. You're going to run 6 forests. You're going to run 2 Thornwood Falls. And why do you want these is you're going to have your option to do and or. And then whenever the Thornwood Falls enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life. But it comes in tapped, and then it goes up. But you get the option of going one or the other. And you get your 1 life. You're already getting some life here. So run you 2 of those. The Mystic Sanctuary. You get 1 blue, and then whenever the Mystic Sanctuary enters the battlefield, tapped, unless there are 3 or more other islands. Don't worry about that. He comes in tapped, next turn he's on tap, don't worry about it. But when the Mystic Sanctuary enters the battlefield untapped, you may put a target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard on top of your library. So this is going to let you replay an instant or a sorcery spell. You only want 1 of these. It's pretty good, and it's going to give you a mana whenever you tap it, and you're going to tap it every time, basically, when you get it. So just run 1 of those. Demir Guildgate. As you can see, this one gives you an and or for your swamps or your islands. That's going to come in handy way later on, which makes this a prankster deck. There's nothing more about that. It's just an and or, comes in tapped, brings it up. You're going to want to hit that for that black one. And, yeah. Just run 1 of those. You want your Paradise Druid. Paradise Druid has hexproof as long as it's untapped. So she's going to be a card that you're going to stick in there, and you're going to want to just keep her in there to keep you hexproof. But the reason you're running 1 of her, she's a low cost, and she gives you 1 mana of any color when you tap her. You're going to want that for probably your swamps. But that's a good one to, when you play her, what you got to keep in mind. But you do need a handful of swamps. I think you need about 4 swamps total. I'll show you here, but keep that in mind. So you want one of her. Getting into your adventure cards, for a 7 cost, your Beanstalk Giant. This guy is completely OP for cards. He, for your adventure, for a 3 cost, he is a sorcery spell, and you search your library for a basic land card, put it into the battlefield, and then shuffle your library. So boom, boom, you're going to put another land, basic land on there, and get you some more mana up, and then you're going to bring him back over, and then Beanstalk Giant's power and a toughness are equal to the number of lands you own. So he is probably going to be like an 8/6 at some point. Not the mana, just your lands. So 8/6, really big hitter. Really, really big hitter. So keep that in mind with him. I love the art on this one. The alternate card art for the Love-Struck Beast. Another adventure card for a 3 cost. But his adventure is a 1 cost. Heart's Desire, another sorcery. Create a 1/1 human creature token. So that just gives you, for 1 cost, it gives you a creature token with 1/1 on it. But when you put him on your battlefield, Love-Struck Beast can't attack unless you control a 1/1 creature. There's your 1/1 creature. When he attacks, he's a 5/5. And yeah, Beauty and the Beast. I love that card art. So that's another good one to throw in there. Throw just 1 on there. Keeper of Fables for a 5 cost. Creature Cat. Whenever 1 or more non-human creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. He's a 4/5. You don't have any humans in here. Yeah, you don't have any humans. So, you're going to be drawing cards to get the cards you need. So you want to run 1, 2 of that guy. And when he attacks for a 4, and has defense of 5. So he's a good defense for you too. And it's just look at the card art. Card art's beautiful. The Bramblefort Fink for a 2 cost. He's an Oaf. Alfie, yeah, Alfie. We'll call him an Alfie. So for 8 mana, Bramblefort Fink has base power and toughness of 10/10 until end of turn. Activate this ability only if you control an Oko Planeswalker, and you do. So he will be a 10/10, and you'll definitely have that mana because you're not really mana ramping, but you're going to be using all your lands really quick. They're going to go on the battlefield by the time you start attacking. We'll say that. And he's a 2/2. So we're in 1, 2, 3 of that guy. Getting back to your adventures for a 6 cost. The Twainvale Treefolk. For a 4 cost, he has Oaken Boon, another sorcery. Put 2 1/1 counter tokens on a target creature. So you're building up creature tokens. Or you're building up creatures for counters. So you're making your creatures tougher by 1/1, putting 2 of them on there. And when you put him on the battlefield, nothing special about him, but he's really large. He's a 6/5. Run you 2 of those. Alright. Now, getting into your instants. You don't have a lot in here, but you got some good ones. So, Return to Nature. For a 2 cost, your instant. Choose 1. You only want one of these, because this is not really an instant deck. But you're going to destroy a target artifact, destroy a target enchantment, or exile a target card from your graveyard. Good thing about that, or not from your graveyard, from a graveyard. So if somebody's graveyard pulling, get rid of their card. And you can pull him up with, if you haven't seen those lands, you got a couple of things that you're going to pull him back out so you can use him multiple times. And he's a low cost. You can start holding that in your hand. Opening hand if you get him, but it's turn 1, or you only want 1 of these guys. Centaur Nurturer for a 4 cost. He is a Centaur Druid, and when the Centaur Nurturer enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. There's your health pool. And also, when you tap him, choose 1 mana of any color, so you're getting more mana. You need that black mana, remember that. And he's a 2/4, so he's not bad, but he's there for your mana. Just run 1. This guy's nice. A Fierce Witch Stalker for a 4 cost. He's a wolf. He has trample. He's a 4/4 trample, so they can't really block him with small creatures because he's just going to run through. He's going to do the damage. He's going to get rid of that creature, and he's going to go through and hit that planeswalker that they have. Hit the player. So they're going to have to block him with something 4 or higher. And when the Fierce Witch Stalker enters the battlefield, create a food token. And food tokens, when you sacrifice them, cost you 2, and then you tap the food token. It gives you 3 life back. So there's some more life. Just run 1 of him. And now, for a 5 cost, he's rather large for an instant, but returned to the Wild Speaker. Choose 1. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-human creatures you have. So we'll say that Beanstalk is an 8. So you're drawing 8 cards. Or you can do a non-human creature you control gets a 3/3 until the end of turn. So that's just you can either draw more cards or make a creature bigger. That's up to you. He's a good one. He's a large cost, so you only want 1 of him. Now for a 2 cost, for a swamp, or not a swamp, for an island and a forest, Maraleaf Pixie. There's a lot of fairies in here. A lot of fairies. If you've never played fairies, or if you played people with fairies, you know they're annoying. Because they pretty much always have flying. So, as I said, he has flying, and he is just a mana ramp. Add 1 or the other at 2 cost. Low cost, so you want to run a couple of these. You want to run 1, 2, 3. Now we're getting into the tricks. For a 3 cost, you got your Aura, and it's an enchantment. Charmed Sleep. When Charmed Sleep enters the battlefield, tap Enchanted Creature. So you put that on somebody's cards, and you tap them. When they tap, they can't attack, and they can't block. They can't do anything. Enchanted Creature doesn't untap during the controller's next untap step. So you got free roam for 2 hits, basically. So you want to run 2, 3. Get you 4 of them guys. Now we're getting into the Oko Basics for a 2 cost. This one you can actually put 4 in there if you wanted to, but I've only got 3. So you want to get your Frogify, another Aura, Enchanted Creature. Enchanted Creature loses all abilities and has a blue frog, and is a blue frog creature with base power and toughness of 1/1. Remember those 3/3 elk tokens that everybody hated from Oko? Yeah. You're doing that right now with this Oko deck, but you're not turning them into elks. You're turning them into 1/1 frogs. Even worse. Even worse. So, run you 3 of those. You can't have Oko without some Oko's accomplices. For a 3 cost, got you another fairy, just has flying, and they're 2/3. So, you're going to do a lot of flying damage here, so you want to get 4 of those guys. Another fairy, Fairy Rogue, for a 2 cost, the Fairy Vandal. He has flash and flying. So whenever you draw your second card in each turn, put a 1/1 counter on the Fairy Vandal. There's not very many of that, but there's a couple times where we've been drawing a second card. As you saw, if you want to use that Return to the Wild Speaker to draw mini cards, you can put counters on these creatures. They're flying and they have flash. So flash is really nice because then you can just attack right off the bat. He has summoning sickness, obviously, but he has flash. It's kind of like an instant for him. He can attack whenever, and whenever he's not tapped anyway. And he only attacks for 1, but he has flying. And unless they have flying defense, you're going to get some easy hits on them. So you want to run 3 of those. Get some more fairies for a 3 cost. This is the Tome Raider. Oh, look at Laura Croft there. Look at that. That's just beautiful art. And look at that cat. I don't think I've ever noticed that cat. Meow. Anyway, I digress. This fairy, the Tome Raider, has flying, and when Tome Raider enters the battlefield, draw a card. So you're pulling out more cards. She's a 1/1. She's just a nuisance. Just a nuisance. So run ya 2 of those. Another adventure card. A good old Queen of Ice. For a 3 cost. Good old Elsa. Oh, you do have a human, so I forgot that she was a human. That's okay, though, because you only got 1 of her. And she's an adventure card, so for a 2 cost, you can do the Rage of Winter, and all that does is tap a target creature, and it doesn't untap during its controller's next untap. So you have, with this card, you have another Charmed Sleep, essentially. So now you're running 5 of them. Oh no, oh no. Scaring people with that Oko shit. But when you put her on the battlefield, whenever the Queen of Ice deals combat damage to a creature, tap that creature. It doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. So you can freeze a planeswalker, or not a planeswalker, you can freeze a creature that's trying to block you. Boom. She's just annoying. Whenever she does combat damage, if it goes straight to the player, choose a creature, boom, tap it. You're really just using her for that Charm Sleep effect, even though you get another one over here whenever she deals combat damage. So, just run 1 of her. Got your annoyance. Mistforge River Turtle. For a 4 cost. He's a creature turtle, and whenever Mistforge River Turtle attacks, another target attacking non-human creature can't be blocked this turn. So, you only have 1 human in here. Everything else, so your fairies can't be blocked. Those 1/1 fairies that are annoying can't be blocked. He's your defense, so you really just using him for your defense, but you got 2 of your defense walls, if you will, on this guy, because look at that. He's got a 5 defense. That's going to be hard to get past as long as he's not tapped. But if you feel like going all out and you got 2 of these on there and you tap them both, and then you got creatures that can't be blocked, especially by smaller creatures and those big ones like that Beanstalk, if he can't be blocked, you're doing massive damage. So, run you 2 of those. And this is the card that they have a reprint for. So this one's not like modern, because it comes from like 7. But this card's old as fuck. But I love the card art on this. It's Boomerang. There is a version of Boomerang card that's like worth like $100. This one is, I think this is like a $15 card. The reprints that they have in there don't look anything like this. I think it has like a demon on it, and it's like a 15-cent card. But return target permanent to its owner's hand. It's an instant for a 2 cost. So that one, if somebody's trying to, or when you're using your cards, exiling them, put them in your graveyard or whatever, bring them right back. So just run 1 of him. He's it is Boomerang or whatever. It's just fairies. You got a lot of fairies in Oko, because Oko is a fairy. I think he's a fairy. Yeah, because he's Puck. He's Robin Goodfellow. Yeah, this is the Midsummers Night Dream. So anyway, 2 cost, instant, returning a permanent to your hand. Just run 1. Oko's Hospitality. You're going to run 2 of these, and it is a 5 cost. This is your game ender. If you can pull this out and you can actually get it, you're going to win the game. It's going to be in your favor after this. It's an instant. You run 2 of these. You want to run 2 of these because you want to get this in your opening hand so you can hold it. Or you want to get this relatively early so you can hold it. But creatures you control have base power and toughness of 3/3 until end of turn. So those little tokens that you're spamming out, that's 1 and 1s, 2s and 2s, or whatever, you're making them a little bit bigger. It sucks for the bigger guys because it makes them smaller, but that's okay, because you may search your library and or your graveyard for a card named Oko, the Trickster. That's the Planeswalker, that's the Oko you're going to play in here. That's going to turn him into the Thief of Crowns. That Oko the Trickster. You want to put that in there, you want to reveal it and put it into your hand. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. If he's in your graveyard, you're bringing him right back. That's why you want 2 of these, just in case somebody tries to put him in your graveyard, or he runs out of loyalty and he has to go to the graveyard. You bring him right back to use him over and over again. So run you 2 of those to get your Trickster out. For a 6 cost, your Oko the Trickster Planeswalker, Legendary Planeswalker Oko. This foil is not working with my light. There we go. So for a 1 cost loyalty, put 2 1/1 counters on top of 1 target creature you control. That's okay, but you're just wanting to build that up. For a 0 cost, until end of turn, Oko the Trickster becomes a copy of a target creature you control. Prevents all damage that would be dealt that way, or to him this way. So he becomes anything you control. If you control anything. If you have control in here, if you want to like add some control in here, so you control opponents' things, he takes control. That's your Thief of Crowns right there for a 0 cost. But if you can get him up to 7 until the end of the turn, each creature you control has a base power and toughness of 10/10 and gains trample. So the best thing about him is you can make a copy of himself and put him on the battlefield and attack with him. You can make a copy of that beanstalk and hit him for, if you've got the power, hit him for 16. You can make copies of everything for a 0 cost. You can even have him on the battlefield. Don't worry about getting that 10/10 toughness and just attack with those copies and use those copies for blockers if you want for your turn, if you have to. So that's your Planeswalker. That's your Trickster. Bam! And now what makes this deck a tricky deck is you are going to run a Rankle for 4. And like I said, I thought it was the cost was a 4 cost. So remember that with those any color manas that you got in there. Rankle, the Master of the Pranks. He has flying and haste for a 3/3. So he comes in untapped and does the damage, and he's flying because he's a fairy rogue. And whenever Rankle, Master of Pranks, deals combat damage to a player, choose any number, any of these. Each player discards a card. Each player loses 1 life and draws a card. Or my favorite, each player sacrifices a creature. So, sacrifice those tokens that you got. People are going to run out. They're going to try to focus on this guy because he is a dick. These two together, Thief of Crowns. Then your last card, my favorite card, your absolute, not really an absolute, he's just an awesome card also. Glen Elendra Pranksters for a 4 cost. Fairy Wizard. He's a 1/3 with flying. Look at all that flying you have in here. It's a flying deck. So, whenever you play a spell during an opponent's turn, you may return a target creature you control to your hand, to its owner's hand. So, if you can, like, if you're going to control creatures, boom, put them back in their hands. And there you have it, guys. I just showed you how to make a Midsummers Night Dream deck. Your Oko Thief of Crowns. It's Oko the Trickster, but I showed you how to bring Oko back and make a really, really strong deck. A really, really annoying deck. A deck filled with flying, so people have to adjust around that. But there's also a lot of control and a lot of sleep. So remember that, guys. If you want to play Oko, here's how you can play Oko and stay legal and annoy everybody because Oko's back. And he's really, 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 really mad. Till next time, guys. Be sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you want to see next, and I will make it for you. Until then, I'm going to watch McGregor and Cerrone throw bacon at each other or something. I don't know. What's UFC again? Isn't that like WWF.2 or something? Second version of it? Whatever. I digress. Later, guys.